All right, a very good morning to you and you're welcome to the Kolyamzat studio this morning at Kidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan. My name is Wuraola Yusuff, and this is your ultimate newspaper review show. This is where we get to talk about the things concerning us, the decisions being made on our behalf, and also the things that has happened all across the country since yesterday up until this morning. And of course, the game maestro is in the studio to help us analyze and also help us dissect their stories as they concern us, the common man. All right, from the Daily Trust newspaper today, monkeypox spreads to 19 states, cases are now 40. Three writers to that story. The first one says Lagos raises alarm over new variant from African nations. The second one says the federal government intensifies surveillance. And the last one says US donate 10,000 vaccine doses to Nigeria. All right, this one on page 29 says the federal government yet to pay us promised wage award. Pensioners cry out. Herders farmers clash claims 5 lives in Niger. Kano governor seeks assembly's approval for 99 billion naira supplementary budget. No timeline yet for Rochaye report implementation. That coming from federal governments. Yes, NFF confirms German Labadia as a Super Eagles coach. Labour Party in fresh crisis as Otis summons emergency neck meeting. All right, then, moving on to the Guardian newspaper right now. This one is on the issue of food insecurity. Federal government banks on dry season farming as flood devastate northeast. Residents of Rivers community flee over fresh oil spill. This one on page 16 says telephone service quality may drop as telecommunications consider load shedding. All right, 900 days on, CDHR task Sanwo-Olu on justice for late Bamiche. All right, then, moving on to the Punch newspaper. This one is tagged the Flights of Fancy. On page 19, governors slammed for wasting 160 billion naira on unviable airports. The writer to the story says Nasarawa, Yobe. Others beg federal government to take over airports shunned by airlines. AMCON set to sell Ibadan Disco, page 20, has details to that story. Lagos Calabar Highway demolition, 100 landowners team up for fresh legal war. Page 2 has details to that story in the Punch newspaper. Now to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Tinubu, China's president, to meet in Beijing. Page 4 has details to that story. On the issue of fuel crisis, lepers in Lagos resort to drinking contaminated water. Health expert warn of public health crisis. Page 27 has details to that story. End killings, banditry, can Sultan urge a federal government to say recent bloodshed alarming. Page 3 has details to that story. 13 arrested over attack on Oyo Commissioner's convoy. That one is on the issue of the Commissioner for Environment. Yes, Mugbonjibola. Page 5 has details to that story in the Nigerian Tribune newspaper now. The stories alongside others are what we have to discuss this morning. For better explanation, we have the great Maestro in the studio. Good morning, Maestro. You're welcome.
Good morning.
All right, then. I guess I should pick it up from where it seems interesting. The Oronshaye report. Federal government said that there is no timeline yet for Oronshaye report implementation. We'll be talking about this since when.
That is, where I am far from the maddening crowd. I don't simply tag along when people are being caught with the spirit. I said it here that it's not likely to happen, especially in the first term of this administration.
Yes, you said that.
It is it is going to shake a lot of things, and I don't think the administration is going to consider it strategic enough to be in pursuit of that and similar goals at this moment. Because you see, politics is like buying and selling. Sometimes you come in to sit at the table with a lot of credit, and you begin to spend that credit that you have immediately you sit at the table. You're spending it to buy some things. So, like everything else, it finishes if you don't spend it wisely. So, even if you spend it wisely, you still spend it to buy some other things. So, it's an exchange that we often don't track. And that is what is going on concerning the Oronsai report. There's a big reason why all the other administrations simply left it where it was. But this administration has a way of going to touch those things that other administrations left untouched. And so many people believed at that time that it was going to be like fuel subsidy that it decided to touch. It was going to be like foreign exchange it decided to touch. It was going to be like oil and gas. All these places where you have very powerful interests, vested interests. But it touched all those places anyway. Look at the consequences. So at some point you might probably think, okay, let me not take this one and add it to look at the local government thing. So you're taking on these battles and you're losing, of course you're losing political credit, and then you're gaining some other things because you spend it. You don't throw money away, you use it to buy something. So at the risk of sounding immodest, I already said this is how it will turn out. And it's turning out like that, so I'm not worried at all.
As I said, this is not to say that they are stalling the report. This is just for them to ensure a smooth run of the policy when implemented.
Okay, we're waiting.
They are just trying to say
we're waiting. But you see, the truth of the matter is, again, what I've always said, Nigeria is easy to read. If you care to read, if you care to understand this country, it's one of the easiest countries in the world to read. Nothing changes. People might put on some fresh kind of facade. They might add, new vestiges. They might put on, dressings. But the truth of the matter is nothing really changes in Nigeria. Because that which should change everything is what the elites, especially the powerful elites, are scared of most.
And that is
restructuring.
All right, then. Maestro, let's talk about the monkeypox outbreak. I feel like I know what you say about this, but then first off, let us enlighten people.
Yes, you see, the truth is this. These things are real. These things exist. I'm not one to even doubt for a moment that these things exist. And it will be very dangerous to say they don't exist, or to pass certain, insinuations which might make people relax. I think we should be on guard at all times to ensure that we don't joke with all this information. It is real. Thank God it is something that could be treated, one. Two, it is something that you could prevent via vaccines and so on. And I understand that they've sent vaccines.
Yes, US already donated 10,000
doses. So which is great on that side. So we should all be very careful out there. Watch out, take all the precautions as expressed by health workers. All those things are very important. But I can't stop there. I must also talk about my country. So we first talked about this other one, and then we started building up figures around it, but it didn't go far, right? So now we're we're at monkeypox. That's the new.
From cholera.
That's the new one, and I'm sure, there will be build up of figures around it. Even when they don't announce it, as soon as you have this kind of information, it's good enough excuse, for people to be applying hundreds of millions of naira.
And that we got our money again.
Silently. Nobody is going to they don't account to nobody. They don't tell anybody, unless there's some kind of pressure, and then you will suddenly see the figures they spent on such, health issues. I'm also very wary, when it comes to this very quick help coming from this Western axis, because we have a lot of untreated issues when it comes to this kind of stuff. And this is not, so many people like to write it down to conspiracy theories. I know that there are conspiracy theories, but which part of it is conspiracy, and which one could we write down as mere theory? If you look at what the Kenyans, as a matter of fact, highly educated Kenyan interests, they sued this man's foundation, Bill Gates, over certain things. He was also sued. He has a case in India. And this has a lot to do with a lot of things that we hear from those quarters. We have to wake up, to certain realities, global realities. If you look at it again, people talk about girls who were vaccinated in Kenya years after they found it difficult to get pregnant. And it's not just 1, 2, 3. If a lot of them. So sometimes I believe we must, have the responsibility of responding to these things. And so we're careful. We know precisely what kind of vaccination we are taking. It's look at GMO, for instance. These GMOs, we have never had a national discussion about it. In certain parts of Europe, it's already even banned. You can't bring GMO into their country because they've already had a national discussion about it. They know precisely. So when you have a national discussion, then you situate somewhere by policy. But ever since I've been hearing, and clearly you see some of our seedlings going. We've always had the organic ones, but you see some of our seedlings going, and you don't see them anymore. Maybe if you travel into the farm hinterlands and so on, you might come across them. But what you see are seedlings that you will plant per season. So when you plant this season, it's gone. You sell. You have to go to them to buy again in order to plant, because if you don't go there, you cannot take from your farm produce. Say this is what I'm going to plant the next cycle. Some situations are like that right now, and I believe that this is something that government and civil society should bring to the fore. But most of the time, we are these days driven more by the social media. The social media determines what we talk about, most of the time now, and it's a very dangerous trend because the social media is not so intelligent.
At this point,
it's not so intelligent. The intelligent part of the social media might just be about 10%.
All right then, Maestro. Let me just ask you this: how do you view the way foreign media report things in Nigeria?
Where's that coming from?
Okay, just I'll tell you where it's coming
all
from.
Right, all right. It's a very easy question to answer. They report issues in Nigeria as they've always reported issues.
How?
They've always reported issues to benefit their home countries. That is the basic truth. And you see, it's a bigger thing than you see the media projection of say the United States or United Kingdom, and lately China. The media projection is bigger than, I heard in VOA or I heard on BBC. No. You see, what they've done to us is they've really colonized this space by media projections for a very long time. So, and it's progressive. And it's always in the interests of their home countries. So this is the design. I grew up, my mom grew up in front of nothing. She didn't watch TV. There was no TV. She didn't even listen to radio. Maybe somewhere along the line, rediffusion came. A rediffusion, pseudo kind of radio.
Yes, know that.
But apart from her father's gramophone, which she probably didn't even have access to. So, but when I grew up in front of black and white television, and what was I watching? I was watching, projections from the United States mostly. So I was watching wrestling, I was watching Sesame Street. I saw a lot of Sesame Street in my time, and so on and so forth. So already before I formed, they've already, indoctrinated me in certain ways. That is the massive media projection I'm talking about. So the news that you're talking about, the reportorial that you're talking about, is an aspect of that. Is, and a small, well, not so small part of that. So when they report to put something inside the black man's mind. So it's a continuation of that projection, that indoctrination.
All right.
And so, if, for instance, they are reporting that...
Maestro, you know what? Before we start giving examples, and before I tell you the reason I asked this question, let's go pay some bills. We'll be back.
All right.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
Wow! Your baby is here! Congratulations!
Do not waste time. Put your baby to breast within the first 1 hour of delivery to give that first yellowish milk colostrum. Colostrum has all the important nutrients your baby needs to start a healthy life. Colostrum also helps to protect your baby against diseases. Remember, put your baby to breast within the first 1 hour of delivery. This message is from the Anrin Project or your state's Ministry of Health.
I'm in love. Sonia tomato mix, stand up. Is it to open? Is it to squeeze? Is it to scoop? And is it to stir?
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
Adekunle Ajasin University Ibadan campus Togun Wati Mufulani College of Education Ibadan Lagos Express Road Oremeji Axis Ibadan lọ enroll báyìí courses tó bá wù ọ́ ní ọyàn láàyò ló bá gba certificate lẹ́yìn àgùnbánirọ̀ English language political science accounting economics computer science biology health human kinetics social studies religious studies àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ sáré pé o ní 5 credits tó ní maths and English nínú Mondays to Friday lẹ́kọ́ ọmọ ìparí ọ̀sẹ̀ ní tàwọn tó wà lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ Saturdays and Sundays AAUA management ló ń tẹ̀ gbà post graduate diploma PGD in education ó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí o ní Mufulani College of Education in affiliation with Adekunle Ajasin University Akungba Akoko Ondo State gba fọ́ọ̀mù báyìí lélẹ́wùrà Community Grammar School number 1 Baálé Elewura Street Elewura Challenge Ìbàdàn àti ní Mufulani College of Education Ìbàdàn gbogbo student tó fẹ́ wọlé AAUA wọ́n ti gbọ̀rọ̀ yín ro fọ́ọ̀mù ti di 5,000 báyìí ó ti kúrò ní 10k 45,000 ní school fees ó ti kúrò ní 50k nítorí bẹ́tù ọ̀rọ̀ àjẹsẹ̀rí láfi jáwọ́ ọ̀hún wálẹ̀ telephone 07031551555 website www.aauaibadancampus.com.
Start your day and have a good time. Kivo Krima. Even when you need to clear your eyes. Kivo Krima. Or when you need to have the break time. Kivo Krima. If not tea, Papa Garita. Kivo Krima. Kivo Krima. Kivo Krima. Kivo Krima.
Good time moments with Kivo Krima.
Kivo Krima.
To prevent diarrhea and other diseases, especially in children, wash your hands with soap under running water, particularly after using the toilet. After cleaning your baby's bum, before preparing your baby's food, and before and after feeding your baby. If your child has diarrhea, give zinc tablets once a day, plus ORS every 4 hours, or frequently in small sips from a cup, so that your child will replenish lost nutrients and regain strength. Also, visit the nearest health facility to get treatment for diarrhea. This message is from the Anring Project or your State Ministry of Health.
Price of market for the country won't carry person go where you not know.
That will not be true talk o. Because Samsung Blue Tag sale don show with ogbonge offers wey make sense wella. Waka enter any approved Samsung store, buy a Galaxy Z Fold 6 or trade in your old Samsung device them, and you go collect free double door refrigerator wey carry 20 years warranty plus digital inverter wey get voltage control plus correct cooling wey dey circulate wella for maximum freshness. Discounts for Samsung Galaxy A55, A15 and A05 series e reach 70k wey dey comot for the phones. Promo go start from August 19 till stock finish. Terms and conditions dey o.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
All right, we're back, and in case you're just joining us, this is your ultimate newspaper review show, The Dailies. And of course, you can also join us on our Facebook page at Akidibo 887 FM. Before we went on that break, we were trying to give, Mesha was trying to give us examples of news, the way foreign media projects Nigeria.
I was trying to show you that the scheme is much bigger than, the little reports. Generations after us grew up in front of black and white. You had the VHS and all the films. Hollywood is a big part of the scheme. Going down now, today you have the computer, the social media and everything, and the game goes on as before, But I think a lot of people are waking up because you see them still playing it. But if, for instance, you're reporting Formula One, they call it in the name of the world. It's not a global game. If you're reporting the NBA, say World Series, they have a lot of words that are restricted to the United States alone. And, it's not like, the World Cup that everybody in the world will participate. So that tells you quickly what they mean by the world. It's always like that. BBC for a long time participated in the war for the Second World War, reporting absolutely like an arm of the British Army and therefore Allied forces. So you must take it essentially from that because there is no departure.
All right, then. The reason I'm saying it is that we had the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris. He visited the BBC in London. And why? It said the visit is just to urge foreign media organizations to please balance their news reports on Nigeria in line with fairness, which is a principle of journalism.
I don't know if he's just, having fun. No amount of visits would make them change their system. Just because he came there to urge them
say so.
to... This is a big part of that society. Information management is a very big part of the Western society, and they've always used it to their own advantage. They also use such information to affect elections in their old colonies or their areas of their new influences, if you like. So it's not something that the information minister could just take a magic wand, charm everybody there, and have them repent. It doesn't happen like that. So we shouldn't expect any balancing anytime soon.
Or fairness.
You see, the truth is, when you look at their own societies too, they are not balancing anything. The position, the ideological position of Fox News is perpetual. It is ultra-right. And so if you look at CNN too, left forever. So they are not balancing anything. They don't take prisoners when they go out there. they leave everything out. You can't even mistake their positions inside that society. The only difference is whoever now wins, they have a common position concerning African countries, which is to exploit us. And so information too, whether it is coming from British newspapers or it's coming from New York Times, Financial Times, and so on, they are writing for the benefit of their own country. And they might write that this candidate is not good for Nigeria. That one is good for Nigeria, which they do all the time. And they write in favor of their own State Department
their interest
to ensure that the person they like is one who ends up at the top of any African nation.
How about our local media? How are they doing, Maestro?
We're doing very, very awfully. Very awfully. Apart from, individual, stations which you could say, okay, you could, and people out there would easily tell you, this is where I listen to news. This is where I listen to analysis. This is where I get my entertainment. So they have such choices. But, broadly speaking, I don't think we're doing fine at all.
On balancing, on fairness.
We don't balance anything because most of the news that you listen to today, they don't come originally from the stations. All of us have gone mostly to the internet to pick stories. So,
the second Maestro.
Yeah.
It's 7 a.m. on Agidigbo 88.7 FM.
All right, shots fired.
So we've gone to the internet to pick our stories and mostly. So we have to really thank those who actually go there to bring those things and work on them. So before we throw away the baby and the bath water, which is not sensible. So there are people who are still, reporters who will go there.
Into active journalism.
Who go there, get the information and feed their stations. And then others will go and pick it from, from the internet. So that's bad. But also, I think we are being seriously affected by the new media, if you could call it that, because all of a sudden there is no line drawn. Everybody now is a journalist. So you can sit in your home and be writing stuff.
And post.
So you're also a journalist. And it's irritating sometimes when some people post themselves into trouble. And then emergency activists and misguided ones will now come and be asking journalists to rise up on their behalf. We don't know these guys. We don't know where they're coming from. So if you're asking us to write so that people would, observe what the law says, to tell the authorities, if in case they forgot, that people should not be incarcerated like this, that makes a lot of sense to me. But to be saying one of you should rise up on behalf of one of you, we don't know these guys. Where do they come from? And people who want to be mischievous, they don't draw that line to that, okay, this guy is not a journalist like that. He's just a journalist who found himself, his sale is on the social media, and he begins to do everything without any sense of direction. So you can just say, Zulum, so your son did this in India, and then it's okay. It's fine.
Masha, do you know someone called Picom? Is it Picom or Pidom? I'm not so
sure. That's precisely the person I'm talking about. And everybody is up in arms that he was picked and so on and so forth. And nobody had a fair idea of what he did. Now, I am absolutely against incarcerating people like that. In fact, it's nauseating. This is something that's happened to us that we've fought over time. And it shouldn't be happening to any Nigerian. But that's not even the vein. We've talked about that. The point here is, if you need to go and look at what this guy had posted over the years.
I know.
So, so that's the kind of journalist that, we have more of those today than the rest of us.
All right, then that will take me to the issue of the end bad governance protest. Now they have given federal government 17-point ultimatum. Maestro, all right, they said the 17-point ultimatum is to the federal government ahead of their planned demonstrations.
I'm not interested. I'm absolutely not interested.
And then we also have Shewura in the news.
I'm just not interested in that because, why should I be interested in that? Why should I even, want to promote that?
Their demands.
They've not even. It's because we're ultra sensitive to government being draconian or high-handed in any way, and citizens have to be able to do certain things, and then we say no. But you see, when citizens get involved one way or the other in threatening the entire society, what's my business? Whatever happens to you.
Now, this is concerning the detained protesters.
I'm not interested.
The last
People have recourse to courts. You see, you have to develop these things. Why would I be interested in what somebody says, please raise me 1 million naira, I want to protest? I'm just trying to wrap my mind around that. Give me $1 million, I want to protest. Raise me that money so I can go and protest. I'm not interested in that, absolutely not. Because I don't know why you need to encourage people to protest.
Gather money.
Protest should be what you and I feel we should protest. It's not something that you come and tell me, okay, now I have enough money,
let's go,
so we can come out. You should neither force people nor encourage people towards protesting. It's something that should happen of free will. So, but when you begin to say, let's raise money, and you are doing all that, that's why I'm so disinterested in what these people are doing. I really don't want to even help them to promote this nonsense. Especially for somebody, the next time now you are going to say you are the presidential candidate of this political party.
Yes.
He's going to come.
He always is.
So why are you in the race if you want to get there by other means? So you want to eat your cake and have it. That's what it means. It's either you are dedicated to this other side. You cannot be running with the canines and be hurrying with the hair. It's not something that makes sense to me personally. But then if it does to you, it's okay. I'm just not interested in that because we are not even out of the last one yet.
I mean, it's in the news, so that's why I had to bring it up.
Yes, I understand. People should pursue whatever it is in court.
In court?
Yes. Why are they quiet for all this while that these people were in detention, and after a while, it's another reason now to say, why haven't we gone to court? Why haven't we pressed, and then if you find a protest, do you know it makes a lot of sense? If you find a protest at the end of the entire thing and these people are not released, and then you are talking about protests, that makes sense to me because the system has failed in that regard. Not generally. The system has failed in that regard. Therefore, you want to protest, that makes sense. But where you are deliberately looking at different angles of just ensuring that the earth is so scorched. You know why I'm talking like this? It's good for me and what I believe if these things happen like they want to make it happen. The reason is it probably will push us towards restructuring faster than any other thing if you want to upturn the system. But you see, it is devoid of responsibility, that sense of responsibility that people of my age should have. That, okay, what have we done before we now go and say we want to make everywhere ungovernable? What have we done? Then who are we? These things are very important. The questions that must be answered. And I've always said, then what do I get at the end of it? Am I now going to get a redress at the end of it? Am I going to get everything going well at the end of it? if that is not where the questions are leading me, then why should I be part of that? Because I want to look at the other ones that you did, what you got from those things.
What was the outcome?
It's important that I look at it very well and say, okay, let me join these people because this is the result we're likely to get from it. But if my own, probing does not lead me there, I'm not going to be part of that in any way. And I'm sure they know, these people who are looking for $1 million to protest, they know that out of the $1 million, only God knows how much would, be here and there.
All right, then, quickly. Maestro, yesterday, I think for 2 days now, we've talked about the Abuja police and the Shiites. And yesterday, they said they had nothing to do. The position they had was on Saturday. And the news today, they are calling on. They are accusing the Nigeria police of denying detainees access to lawyers and family members, saying that denying their members access to lawyers. I thought they said those weren't their people.
I can't... I don't think that's the way we should see it. There are people or not, the police, they probably, if the people who did something were not their people, according to them,
okay,
does it stop the police from arresting their
some
people?
of their people? And then they also said they should stop calling them a proscribed organization because they are a religious movement that cannot be banned.
Which is a fact. In this country, you don't ban religious organizations. They might find ways. This is why I talked about the Sunni Shiite thing. It's a global thing. It's not just a Nigerian thing. And everywhere you have the Shiites in overwhelming majority, the Sunnis are very quiet. Where you have the Sunnis in overwhelming majority, people are also, the Shiites quiet. And the problem here is that the Shiites are not quiet in Nigeria against the overwhelming, odds against them. And then they faced a lot of persecution over the time. But it is not good for the police to begin to gather this kind of image that you put people in detention and then you promise court appearances and then you don't allow them access to their lawyers. So what's the meaning of democracy then? Because it was what we had. It was the norm during military administration. People even knew it. When you're arrested, nobody is coming to see. People would even not know where you were taken.
Or maybe if you've been taken.
It might be Panti, it might be Alagbon, it might be somewhere, in the north. It might be anywhere. And so a search had to be launched
to know where you are.
To know where you were. And after that, that's when your lawyers will be begging to see you because you knew that. So, but in a democratic setting, it should not be like that. And I hope, the authorities would, because yesterday, I saw this clip about the lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu. Very bitter after a court outing that, the lawyer was saying he didn't understand why the bail application was denied. He wasn't happy about it, apparently. But more importantly, he was saying that, they didn't have the kind of access that they would wish to have to their client so that they would be able to prepare a case without anybody eavesdropping or, doing this and that, which is understandable. But I don't know how you have someone in DSS custody and you can have that kind of access without at least suspecting that somebody is listening to your conversation.
That kind of privacy.
There's no way. I mean, that's supposed to be called secret police. So they are probably, doing that. But you see, these long processes, they are disturbing, concerning, seriously. If we would do things briskly, whether you're sentencing this person to jail or you are freeing him, get one done.
Let's know.
Get one done and let's move on.
And not to the angle of those demanding his immediate release.
So I don't really I feel comfortable with lawyers not being able to have access to their clients under a conducive setting. I think we should be over that by now.
All right then. Let us talk about flooding because yesterday the Florida National Emergency Operations Center (NEOC) they released the data saying no fewer than 170 persons were killed and nearly 2,000 injured in rain and flood-related incidents across Nigeria during 2 weeks of flooding, which has displaced over 205,000 family and is also affecting our farming as we are speaking. Yes, so we've talked about being proactive in this sense, but now these are the figures we have.
The other problem we also have is that these figures, and you can't trust figures.
Accuracy.
Coming from all these people, we either it's government or some people simply putting, because we don't even know where these homes were. To law and the system, these houses weren't visible. So there might be houses in the middle of nowhere.
So in the northern region.
I know, no northern region, no records, even if it's northern regions. You see, and this is the problem that we create for ourselves, and we are sustaining the problem. That's the sad part. That there has to be a point when we begin to collect data, when we have the kind of data bank that in this country, when somebody says so number of people, you can easily cross-check because those buildings, those people will be known to the system. The eyes of the system will see it because there's some kind of documentation.
Please continue.
That there's some kind of documentation that you can rely on. But having said that, we will have to deal with this in the old way, which is to also assume that everything they have told us is true, and so we need to vote money. Because that's what comes next.
Exactly.
So when you hear that kind of,
displaced people
tragedy, then you know that money will follow it, and civil servants and politicians are the ones who would ensure that everybody is happy at the end of the day. But you know that if there wasn't a house somewhere before, and we voted money or we didn't vote money, nobody is coming from the place to complain.
All right, then. Let's go pay some bills. When we're back, continue the conversation in the studio because we have the first lady seeking stiffer punishment for perpetrators of rape and sexual abuse in the country. We'll be back.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
Stand up. Is it to open? Is it to squeeze? Is it to scoop? And is it to stop?
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
Babies are God's gifts to parents, and breast milk is God's gift to babies. It contains all the important nutrients and minerals your baby needs, including water, for the first 6 months. Give your baby breast milk only. Remember, breast milk only for the first 6 months. This message is from the Anrin Project or your state's Ministry of Health.
When you wake up in the morning, you want to start your day. Start with Kellogg's, It is tasty and nutritious. That's why we start our days with Kellogg's. So you can reach your grades, stay active and alert. Start your day right. The breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
I always want what's best for my family. That's why we ensure we start our day with a Kellogg's breakfast, fortified with essential vitamins and minerals to stay active and alert to reach your grades.
The breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
Babies are God's gifts to parents, and breast milk is God's gift to babies. It contains all the important nutrients and minerals your baby needs, including water, for the first 6 months. Give your baby breast milk only. Remember, breast milk only for the first 6 months. This message is from the Anrin Project or your state's Ministry of Health.
Bike is here again, better motorcycle we go serve you well. 18 months, warranty, and 18 months, warranty. Hero Hunter bike, 18 months, warranty. Hero Hunter bike, better buy to serve you well. Hero Hunter bike, save money and save your fuel. Hero Hunter bike, get 18 months warranty.
My son, help me check this phone. I no know wetin Junior press. E no dey work again.
Make I see. Ah, mommy.
Wetin happen?
They don't block your line now.
Nobody like to chop blocking, no. So, if they don't block you unto say you not link your NIN to your Airtel line, run kitty go any Airtel shop with your NIN to unblock your line today.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Start your day and have a good time. Kivo Krima. Even when you need to clear your eyes. Kivo Krima. And when you need to have the break time. Kivo Krima. If not tea, Papa Garita. Kivo Krima. Kivo Krima. Kivo Krima. Kivo Krima.
Good time moments with Kivo Krima.
Kivo Krima.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
All right. The First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has called for stiffer laws and punishment for perpetrators of rape, sexual abuse, and other forms of gender-based violence. Maestro, a great call?
Well, it depends on how you're looking at it. If you, I don't think it's well severity, but it's really what other things that we do around this for me. There's nothing wrong with calling for stiffer penalties, but how do you execute, it?
Implementation.
What is the judicial process around rape and abuse like in this country? And how do we define and localize our own? Because I wouldn't want my child to grow up in an environment where corporal punishment is outlawed, where you cannot beat your child if he or she is doing the wrong thing. And, you might even go to jail in those societies for beating your own child. So they have a different experience. I'm not saying it's bad, though, for their society. We have a different experience in our society. We evolved differently. And I don't think, while I don't believe that, we should beat the child anyhow, as we were beaten, I think there should be a sensible application of the corporal punishment if the child begins to, in those formative years, because after a while you stop beating the child, whether it depends on how you built up then. So what I'm saying is, then you look at the judicial system. In those societies, you can rape your wife. You can be accused of having raped your wife. In our society, it's going to be very difficult for you to go to any court to say your husband raped you. And so we have all this. That's why I urge, definitions. We have to really articulate what we are talking about most of the time, and then see how we get our goals. Because at the end of defining those items, our goals would have been finely etched out. So we know precisely what we want to get. I think it's too general to simply call for, stiffer penalties, because no matter how stiff those penalties are, they might not get to where we want it to get at the end of the day. Then it becomes really useless. But if, for instance, we have a system that is tight enough in all aspects of this advocacy, awareness, we have the judicial process leading to that, and because these things are important. So I draw a line, like, yes, she's entitled to such a call, being a woman, especially a leader, but we could make it a little bit more expansive. Yes, the penalties might be stiffer, but what if it doesn't get to the
How do we ensure that they get it?
That's the point.
All right, that would take us to the issue of 22-year-old Bamiche Anyanwola, who, because now we have the Committee of Defense of Human Rights, CDHR, saying we've been waiting for 900 days, and now Bamiche is yet to get justice. This is the BRT incident in Lagos. Since February 26, 2022. And yes, according to them, they said that there have been series of other cases that seem similar in other places, and yes, they've gotten justice. For example, they talked about a particular master's degree student from Abuja who was murdered in a hotel in Ile-Ife, and right now the Osun State Judiciary has delivered the judgment. Also, Mrs. Bolanle Rahim, I think this one is actually in Lagos. And yes, they've gotten justice on that one. But on Bamiche's issue, they said what they've been saying is just recurrent adjournment upon adjournment till now. Nothing tangible yet. So
they're having adjournments. So how's that the fault of Lagos State government? And it's not even articulate enough to say that they have been waiting for 900 days. They haven't been waiting. They have been active. So they should. This is what I say about focus.
Okay.
It's the judicial system that you are talking about here. It's not this governor that you are talking about. I mean, so when you get a judgment eventually against, the people that you have joined, then we can talk about that. We can now talk about that. So most of the time, I think we don't get to where we want to be because. We process these things poorly. We process our thoughts very poorly. You see, in the entire universe, it's human beings who have the power of conversation. It's just human beings. So I think we should really use that. From what you have told me, they haven't been waiting for 900 days. They have been in court.
Yes.
So how do you now say you have waited for 900 days and you're putting the state government head in the picture? So I think...
the governor in particular.
Yes, so how does that cut it? So the point here is, the truth is that he is the target eventually. And we don't know what benefits everybody is looking for. But from what you have told me, it is not valid that you have waited for 900 days. You have been active in court for those 900 days. And that's almost 2 years.
Yes.
And then you also, in fact, over 2 years. And then you also, you have not laid emphasis on that which is the actual problem, endless adjournments.
Yes.
And that's what we should have been talking about here. But that's not what you gave us. So how do we talk about it?
In their word, they said unnecessary adjournment until date.
So that's where the emphasis should be. And that's what I think we should be.
They're talking about our judicial system.
Concentrating on. It's poor. From the lowest courts in the land to the highest, you have tons and tons of cases that are just under the weight of adjournments. Some are adjourned way, months, years ahead. They just throw the adjournment. And you see, some of these adjournments in themselves are like judgments. when you have a land case, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
and some people are already occupying the land, you say it's not their own. And so at any court, at any level, somebody says, okay, you are adjourning this case to December next year. So those people continue on the land. When they return again, you adjourn for another year. So it keeps going on. So sometimes it comes across like judgment and not just simple adjournments. But could we blame these judges alone for all these things? No. They have more than they can cope with. Most of them have
More cases.
more cases than they could cope with, for a start. Two, you have lawyers who are, experts at getting adjournments.
They are ready to do that.
Experts, they know how to wring adjournments out one way or the other. So lawyers do a lot of these things. And sometimes the judges are hamstrung when they see that, okay, everything that you will need to secure this adjournment had been put on their table, and there's no law. Eventually that, well, sometimes it's their prerogative too, but things happen. So I believe that we have to, just like we are talking about the, medicine, where doctors are, we have to now rebuild this society so that we could have adequate supplies going into all these places, because we don't have enough.
Masha, do you know why I think they are directing this to Mr. Governor himself? Because the case is concerning a BRT bus driver.
Yes, yes. But the moment it lands in court, it's no longer his thing. He can't say, okay, the case is in court, but let me do something about it. No. He can't even withdraw the case. It's not his own. It was dragged to court. So these things are pretty simple when we are not determined to find some other, spurious angles to them. So what we should be saying is that we should be pressing for a judgment to come out of this from court. And then that is when you now put the full light on the governor to say, okay, this is judgment. Let's go ahead and do what the court says.
Okay, let's open the phone lines for people to join in the conversation this morning. I'm not sure we have a new coach for the Super Eagles, and he is German. Before we, the issue is not because he's German.
Yes.
We have the NFF board members saying he was imposed on us.
By whom?
All right, let's just open the phone lines to still talk about that. 0704 1001 887 or plus 234 704 700 8873.
Thank you for your attention. It's been lovely to have you keeping it locked on Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Now is the time to join in the conversation, to have the word, hear your voice, because we are the people's voice. Meanwhile, while you contribute to this program, kindly note that in accordance with broadcasting ethics, you are requested to keep your contributions modest, truthful, concise, and not offensive, inflammatory, or with tendencies to cause discomfort to anyone. Thank you. Now, let the conversation begin.
0704 1001 887 or plus 234 704 700 8873. Those are the phone lines to call to join in the conversation. All right, we have the news saying that it was a unilateral decision taken by the NFF president, Ibrahim Gusau, and the sports development minister, Senator John Eno, as against the claim in an official statement that both the technical team and executive board endorsed Labadia's appointment.
The truth is that, employing a coach is always political and a financial game. When you go and look at the very, very corrupt history of the first NFA and now NFF, it's a filthy history that nobody should be proud of when it comes to recruitment and then financial issues. whether it is paying players who went out to play for you, somewhere it must, we must talk about it. The players will complain somehow, so on. So I stopped a long time ago from, these things. They haven't changed. Look, now people are saying, no, we don't know anything about this and that. That is not the only thing that the process you participated in. Haven't you participated in other ones before? Being on this side or that side. You know why everybody is shouting now? Because they know that they might lose out in the next critical match. Very, very critical. It's a qualifier because we are not looking good already. And so if it happens, it was politics they played that kicked Finidi out. Yeah. No, it was politics they played that put Finidi there in the first instance.
In the first
I
place.
don't know what qualified Finidi to be there. I don't know. I'm saying I do not know. Other people might know.
Yeah, John will be able to answer that.
But on this side and that side, they've always been playing this game. And everybody playing for their individual benefits and nobody really playing this game for... Ura, go and read NFA history. That's their parent. Where NFF came
Before
from.
NFF
came out of, litigations, bribery, corruptions, everything is there. It's like miniature FIFA. It's like miniature FIFA with all the, all these interesting personalities, characters over the years.
So when we're talking about sports, we still talk about corruption.
It is, you see, Nigeria, there's no place, no part that is free of corruption. I've told you these things. And that is why when we even sit down to criticize our leaders, we must have a sense of modesty. Don't be spewing as if I'm just out there. I know they do waiting. We are all inside this pool, and so those given the grace, we are given the grace to be able to sit and talk about others because it's in the path, in our chosen path. That's why we are talking like this. It's not because, we are so clean. It's everywhere. People simply draw the line here and there that, look, I'm not prepared to cross this line. And the truth is, almost everybody has a champion where they are, doing the thing. So if your champion is not strong enough, well, I mean, who doesn't? If you don't have a policeman in your family, you have a police friend. If you don't have a friend, maybe you have a wife or husband and so on. Imagine one policeman, how the influence spreads. Imagine one judge in an extended family setting, one politician in an entire community. It goes on and on like that. So NFF is no difference. The story, and then we have that one about, let's take a white coach. No, it's a black coach. We always have that.
We have John Adofia here already saying, spot on, the big boss, the maestro, your analysis concerning NFF. Finidi George and the new coach, Bruno Labadia. Spot on.
This one, the people are saying, especially people who are free-minded, are like, it should have been the other guy now who had the kind of experience that we would need. He's been around African settings. He's handled African teams. They went for this Labamba. So, it's their business. These days, I no longer put my pulse. I don't make my pulse available for football anymore. Because football itself is an entertainment, a big one, but it's also a scam. When a referee takes a bribe today, you're not going to hear about it until 5-10 years down the line that they fixed a particular match.
For someone to lose, for someone to win. Wow.
So why would I subject myself to that kind of rubbish?
All right then. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from, sir?
Yeah, this is Nira from Bodija. Please, can you allow me to finish my discussion on age limit in tertiary?
That was yesterday, sir. We have fresh discussions for today.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for contributing. That was yesterday. We have fresh discussions for today. 0704-1001-887 or +234-704-700-8873. It is the dailies. So what is happening today, not what happened yesterday. Of course, if the news from yesterday is spreading across till today, we'll talk about it. 0704-1001-887 or +234-704-700-8873. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, ma. Your name and where you're calling from. All right, Adexi says restructuring is good, but if we are pressing for restructuring and yet some are still defending obnoxious policies, why calling for restructuring if they know the president is taking good? No one is saying the president.
It doesn't even connect.
All right, then.
Disconnect. There's
there
a powerful disconnect there.
Other comments on the Facebook page, Comrade Ayoniola says, very sad we are still having the same way of going about governance that is dragging Nigeria to the drain, one step forward, 10 steps backward. No committed leader yet who is ready to sacrifice himself to better the country, but to better only few. All right, let us move on to other comments right here on our Facebook page. This one from... yes, we have quite a lot of good mornings. This one from Tolu Kwademi says, it is quite disheartening that the people in government are more reactive to issues that concern the masses than being proactive, because I do not know why we've waited this long and allowed the menace of flood to be threatening food security again in the country, despite being warned ahead. All right, anyways, I must commend on your state government, as always, Tolu Kwademi. Thank you so much. Hello, good morning. 0704-1001-887 or +234-704-700-8873. Prince Siki Rukiwa says, a country like Nigeria will continue to be at the mercy of these Western countries due to the faulty system of electing or selecting our leaders. And since nobody gives what one doesn't have, they easily and ignorantly rely on other countries without fortifying their youths with the needed orientation. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning, ma.
Your name and where you're calling from, ma?
Debra from Ibadan.
All right, ma. Your contribution.
Well done. Oga Master, well done. God bless you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. The major problem we are facing in this country is the leadership problem. And we all know it. Once our leader are being chosen by selected few, the underage, we will not have the right people in the affairs of the government. And we will continue to suffer these flaws. How can we change this thing so that the right people will get there? Only the boys are voting them in. Before you get to the police station, you will see most of the trained boys. And who are you? Who are you to even go near them? How many of us can even confront them when we have lots of people who are mentally okay to rule us, and they will be giving us this set of people? When are we going to change this system? A lot of our electoral votes come from the north, and we hear that they have been are the ones voting them in. When are we going to change the system so that we can have peace of mind in Nigeria once and for all?
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for your contribution, ma'am.
You see, let me say a little about that. That's, somewhat true. But it is not because we are not having good leaders in place that we're going through all these problems. It's part of the problem that even as bad as the system is, but you see, the cycle is a bad system throws up bad leaders. And all these leaders are coming from our midst. I don't want us to forget that. They are coming from individual families in our midst, in our society. We shouldn't forget that. But what we desire, what we should be looking for is that fair leadership processing system. How are our leaders processed into those places?
How did they get there?
The system is bad. And it is not because of these junction thugs that you're talking about. All these boys who are out on election days doing one thing or the other. It's not just about that. It's about the fact that we have not decided to say what kind of electoral system do we put in place so that we will score 85% pass on election days, such that most people will be discouraged from even bothering to go to the court because you can see the evidence yourself. If, for instance, we decide to do electronic voting in this country. So you can sit down in the comfort of your own house and vote. And your vote, you are seeing it as it's going up. It is there for everybody, for the world to see.
Adding up.
So, number one, INEC will use less funds. This kind of $300 billion, $500 billion will stop because they won't need to use all those papers and all the things they call valuable on election day. They won't need so many people, ad hoc staff and so on. You see, we'll cut the costs of election one. Then the validity of the results would also be enhanced. It will become much better, and therefore the acceptability would increase. So when we have the power, truly, you say power to the people, power belongs to the people, it's not true. But when we have that kind of power, truly, we will not be able to vote in and vote out. The politician will be as vulnerable to us as we are vulnerable to him. Today, we are vulnerable absolutely to the politician in unequal proportions. He is not vulnerable to us. He knows how he gets there, and we cannot remove him from the place. Therefore, we have a very poor leadership system, which will only throw up poor leaders. A poor leadership system, processing system, is not going to throw out good leadership for you. It's not going to happen.
Emmy Stevenson says, Maestro, even the dead knows that solution to Nigeria's problem is restructuring. The question is, why is it difficult for our leaders to do the needful?
We are the first factor to look at. Look at the shape of our discussion. You know, people like the petty things. They don't want to undertake anything that is intense as restructuring. Some people are even defeatist. Before you talk about restructuring, they say they won't accept, they won't agree. So,
it won't happen.
So it's better for us to be, you know, from generation to generation, to be singing about presidents and ministers and House of Representatives, and that's what we are doing now. But shouldn't we outgrow that and look at it very well and say, this is what we have been doing since 1999. We've been saying you didn't do it right, you didn't do it right, you did it wrong, you got it wrong. That's what we have been doing. And what result has it given us? What result? The same result. And when these people leave offices, they are different offices now. This Senate president will go one day. This president will go one day. House of Rep will go. This judicial person will go. What do we do when they come? The next batch will start doing the same sing-song daily. Oh, they didn't do it well. Instead of us packing all these energies that we are just frittering away, pack it all together, and then let's put it behind one big thing, restructuring.
One big thing that will solve most of our problems. All right, so let's go pay some business. We're back. We'll take more calls and then we'll wrap up for today. We'll be back.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
ọmọ títún jòjòló òkú oríire má jáfara o gbọ́dọ̀ sọmọ lẹ́nu láàrin wákàtí kan àkọ́kọ́ tọmọ délé ayé láti fún un ní àkọ́kọ́ sí omi ọyàn aláwọ̀ òféèfé yẹn tí wọ́n ń pè ní colostrum. àkọ́kọ́ sí omi ọyàn colostrum yìí ní gbogbo èròjà pàtàkì tọmọ rẹ nílò láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìlera pípé.
ó sì ń ṣèrànlọ́wọ́ láti dènà àrùn fọ́mọ rẹ.
rántí o fọ́mọ rẹ lọ́yàn láàrin wákàtí kan àkọ́kọ́ tó o bímọ.
ìkéde yìí wá láti àkọ́ṣeṣẹ́ ARIN iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
Start your day and have a good time. Kivo Krima. Even when you need to clear your eyes. Kivo Krima. And when you need to have the break time. Kivo Krima. If not tea, Papa Garita. Kivo Krima. Kivo Krima. Kivo Krima. Kivo Krima.
Good time moments with Kivo Krima.
Kivo Krima.
Guys, let's go and get seats at that table with Semovita.
Sorry, this table is reserved for the bride's family.
Do you know who I am? I'm the older brother of the sister's last uncle who married their first cousin.
Everybody wants a seat at the Golden Penny Semovita table. Golden Penny Semovita remains my soup's first choice. It's made from premium wheat and fortified with vitamins and minerals to provide a wholesome bowl food that pairs well with Nigerian soups. Golden Penny Semovita, my soup's first choice.
Price of everything in the country just keeps going up.
That's not completely true, because the Samsung Blue Tax sale is here again. Simply walk into any accredited Samsung store, buy your Galaxy Z Fold 6, or you could trade in your old device and get your free double-door refrigerator that comes with 20 years warranty, digital inverter with voltage control and all-round cooling for maximum freshness. That's not all. There are discounts on the Samsung Galaxy A55, A15, and A05 series. As much as 70K off these devices. Offer starts from August 19th while stock lasts. Terms and conditions apply.
Yo, it's time to switch up your streaming and social media experiences. Introducing the Glow My G bundle, the first all-in-one social and music bundle. It's the perfect bundle for texting, snapping, streaming, sharing, vibing, and everything you love doing online. With My G bundle, you get the data deals for Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Boomplay, Audiomack, and Glow TV, all in one bundle. Now you can make every naira count with affordable all-in-one data bundles with Glow My G. Get 1 gigabyte for 300 naira, 1.5 gigabyte for 500 naira, and 3.5 gigabytes for 1,000 naira on the Glow My G bundle. Plus, you also get 1 hour of free browsing on your favorite apps. That's Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Boomplay, Audiomack, and Glow TV. Dial *312# to start making every naira count with Glow My G bundle. T's and C's apply.
Glow Unlimited.
Tomato mix, stand up. Is it to open? Is it to squeeze? Is it to scoop? And is it to stir?
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
All right, 0704-1001-887. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Madam
morning,
Wura.
sir. Your name and where you're calling from, sir?
My name is Shifa Adebayo, calling from Ikolaba.
All right, sir.
I believe that people are talking of bad leadership. We are all leaders in our own area too. What of our own character? Until we change our attitude in this country, each person, because according to Maestro, that everywhere we are all corrupt, which is true. Now, Maestro, Maestro tell me, say, go and buy this thing for me. And over there, they told me that thing is 5 naira. But on getting to Maestro, I will tell Maestro it's 20 naira. That is corruption. And it's everywhere, according to Maestro. We should all change our character in the country. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution, sir. 0704-1001-887. 0704-1001-887. Or plus 234-704-708-873. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to your name and where you're calling from.
This is Nino from Bodija.
All right.
Please, about the corruption which the Atman has said about the attitude. Yes, it is attitude. Our mentality has changed from what we all believe that there should be fear of God in whatever we do. And the people needed to push us, advise us, train us, guide us in the fear of God are failing to do so. All what they are doing is to understanding of how to enrich ourselves. All what we are talking is that most of us we are chasing money. We don't want to even do it with the fear of God.
All right,
we don't
sir.
want to heap up.
Thank you so much for your contribution, sir, Mr. Nero. Yes, we should have the fear of God. Thank you. All right, it's 0704-1001-887 or plus 234-704-708-873. Maestro, it was in the news yesterday talking about a student loan and the East and the East and talking about leaving. I think it was in the news, more like a report that some part of the country have been left out of the
southeastern part of the country.
The southeastern part.
And it's, well, I did a little research, found out it's not true.
Yes.
Because it couldn't be true anyway. You know, basically why it could not be true is you have people of Igbo extraction all over in all the universities. There's no university you will go to that you will not see an Igbo person there. So must have applied from their own schools, and schools have responsibility to engage the agency.
Yes, submission of names.
So, and they have come out to say that they are not seeing a lot
of submissions from that
from
part.
universities in the southeast. That's the explanation. But when I heard, I laughed. And the reason I laughed is I know there are Igbo students in Lagos, in Oyo State, in Ogun, everywhere. So it could not be valid. More so when UIS says we received so much, for the students here. Yeah. So, and I'm sure, you have a lot of Igbo students in UI.
Yes, that's true.
So there's no way it could be a valid, case. I don't think it could be.
All right. Just a call before we leave. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning,
Hello,
sir.
Carol.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Please, am I speaking with Agidi Brothers, ma?
Yes, you are, but this is a program. Do well to call back after this. We're about wrapping up on the show already. All right, 0704 1001 887 or plus 234 704 700 8873. Just a call. Hello, good morning. Hello. The network is saying no. Maestro, your pattern shot.
Well, my key advocacy is restructuring. I answer these questions within the context within which they are asked. But I'm not advocating for anything, but restructuring. I also want, people to remember that a politician's daughter got married and all politicians were there. Governor Soludo,
irrespective of their political party,
had Zulum, Obi was there. Everybody enjoyed themselves. So it's your business if you want to keep making life difficult for yourself because you are defending one politician or the other. So it's free. It's a free world. Cheers.
All right then. Till tomorrow we'll be back to come discuss about a great nation, Nigeria. My name is Wuraola Yusuff. And yes, by tomorrow I'll be seeing you. I'm leaving. I was about to say I'm leaving this 1 minute to copy, but then it's 7:55 already. By tomorrow we'll be back. Have a nice day.
The views expressed by the guests and participants on this program are strictly theirs and do not